Hello everyone, I'm Slow Bullet.
And I'm Matthew Drat, and we are here with
Masterz1337.
Sweet. And you are doing what in CE?
I'm the lead of CMT's SPv3.
Awesome. If you didn't know that, then you've been living under a rock for a while. So anyway, you can play SPv1 and SPv2. I believe they're all released, except I think SPv2 is...
There's a couple of beta levels out there that are ours, and then there's a couple of beta levels that are just imitations of ours that aren't really done by us. I actually have never played any of the betas on Halo maps or checked them out too much, so I'm not really sure what's out there.
They're all beta form, basically.
But we have newer and bigger things to look forward to with SPv3.
So what are the advancements in single-player version 3 that we can look forward to?
Well, I mean, if anyone who's been following probably knows a lot of it. It's OS-powered. It uses a lot of new OS shaders. We've added in AAs, more enemies, more weapons. For the levels that have really weak aspects, we have been trying to enhance the level by adding in new or more interesting things. And then we've also been trying to take the overall theme of the level and try to adapt that into the new areas. For example, A10 has a lot of really narrow corridors, and in a lot of the new areas, we've tried to make more wide open areas that the player can explore. For A30, it has this idea of, find the location, clear it, defend it, move on. We did that in our two areas, the first being a little tree and river area where you have to explore and find Marines who've been held captive by the brutes. And you can go in it in any direction you want, just like you can at the original last half of the level. You can go to any of the 3 jails and free the Marines and take them with you to free the other Marines. And depending on what order you go in, they will move in different directions and take up different positions. And then the other area is based off the Halo book, The Flood, and the Alpha Base, where the UNSC basically rallies all their forces and it's their center of operations. And you help clear that and defend it.
So what we're getting is a bunch of new areas that have reasoning behind them instead of just longer levels.
Yeah, there's not going to be another 7-hour A30. I played a A30 build last night, and I was kind of multitasking while I did it, but it took about 2 hours on Legendary. The thing we've been doing this time around is everything is built around Legendary. I've posted a few times on Halo maps, but Hokiebird does Hoki's School of Halo and Hoki's Legendary walkthroughs for all the Halo games, and he's one of our primary testers now. So we're really kind of balancing this one and designing it, with the intention that it's for the hardcore fans who are going to want to play on Legendary, and that's what we're aiming for. Of course, if you just want to take a stroll through and see all the features, you can play on normal. If you're looking for a moderate challenge but nothing too challenging, you can always play on heroic. But we're really paying a lot of attention to Legendary. So what I'm trying to get at is the original A30 takes me about 40 to 60 minutes on Legendary. And even though we have only 2 new areas, we've also added some new content into the existing areas, which adds to the length of it. So they're not designed to be like 7-hour missions. With SPv2, we kind of just were experimenting as we went along. For the first time we got stuff added into A30, it was kind of like, can we actually do this? And it's like, yes, we can. Now, how do we link it back to the original level? Let's do some cool stuff, and how do we link it back? And by the time we were like, all right, it's time to link back to the original level, we were so far out. The path back took another 2 hours.
All right. What about any new vehicles? Like, are you guys going to add any CMT vehicles, or what?
Well, we have an idea for... We always have ideas, but the only stuff that we really have right now, which I wouldn't really even call new because it existed in SPv2 or other Halo games, is the AA Wraith, which is actually anti-air now. Yeah. We have the Goshawk, and we also have the Phantom.
What about that Sparrowhawk that you guys had? Was that yours or was that someone else's?
Oh, no, that was ours. That is one of our vehicles, and we can actually make it strafe like an actual Hornet could in Halo 3 now, because we can make it a biped. And basically, it works like the Sentinel, and the Sentinels can strafe left and right. But that's not planned to be featured in the mod until the second half of campaign, and same with the Mantis. We have a Mantis prototype, but it's only really going to be used... we've decided to hold it off for the second half of campaign. recently, and it's just because for, you know, a brief encounter and Truth and Reconciliation, and as an alternative to the tank and Assault in the Control Room, it just doesn't make much sense to, you know, put another asset that we need to do when it's only going to be used so briefly. But we do have plans for them for the second half of campaign, which is everything 343 Guilty Spark to the end.
And so, with the current vehicles that are in Halo 1, is CMT like upgrading those at all, gameplay wise?
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting because if you look at Halo 2 and forward, they kind of shifted the vehicle combat to be long range. The Ghosts became super accurate, the tank became super accurate. You know, the Warthog was a little bit more accurate. The Gauss Hog was like, you know, a sniper rifle on the back of a Warthog. And what we initially, you know, applied that to our vehicles, but we went back to this idea that Halo 1 had of using short-range combat on the vehicles. The Ghosts have a lot of spread. The tank is inaccurate. You know, the rockets travel slow on the Warthogs, and the chain gun hog isn't that accurate either. So it's kind of cool because it makes you have to bring all the vehicles together. You can't just sit in a vehicle, you know, and like just like shoot at the enemy from a distance and pick them off. It requires you to really get in there with the enemies. All the Covenant vehicles get boarding now. They also are EMPable, so if you hit them with an EMP grenade, or I'm sorry, shock grenade is what we're calling them now, or overcharged plasma pistol shot, they won't be able to move, and it gives you time to board them, or shoot the guns off them in the case of the Wraith. And then we also have, well, boarding. I think that's been announced for a while. Yeah, boarding, EMP, and boost are all the things that the Covenant vehicles get.
Alright, what about, we were told that there was going to be armor abilities, is this right?
Yeah, we have, the lag came up with a really cool thing. It's technically a flashlight replacement system. And you basically go over to an armor ability that you find on the ground, you press the E key, and you pick it up.
Sweet.
And so do you guys have any more besides what we saw previously?
I believe what we showed previously was the health regen, which gave you the Halo 2 style health system. We showed sprint, we showed active camo, and, well, we have visor as well, which was the default replacement for flashlight in the map we released. We also have one that's like a shield overcharge EMP, which is, well, we came up with the idea before Spartan Assault came out, and then Spartan Assault came out, and they had the same thing in it. But it's actually our own original idea that we just didn't announce at the right time. And we're also looking into some stuff like thermal vision, to see through walls. Not like Promethean vision. This is going to be a bit different if we can get it working. But we've got some ideas. We want to implement stuff like Jackal hard light shields and stuff as well. Whatever doesn't make it into the mod, though, we're going to release all the scripts, so anyone's free to, you know, try to work on their own armor abilities.
All right, and we haven't heard too much about characters and weapons. How do brutes and stuff and new characters and weapons come into gameplay?
Well, in terms of characters, we have the skirmishers and we have the brutes. You know, it's kind of funny. When we first announced the brutes for SPv2, it was after, you know, it was before even Halo 3 came out, and before the brutes really got the overhaul in there. And it was kind of like, yeah, it'll be cool, we can do brutes, like, you know, like Halo 2 had. And then we like realized that like brutes really suck, you know. Because back then it was like, oh yeah, cool, a new enemy, like that'll make things more interesting. And then like after like you really inspect the enemy, you're like, oh well, brutes kind of suck. Like this is going back to like 2006 when we first put them in.
And then by like Halo 3, the brutes are essentially just elites.
Yeah,
right?
And we struggled a lot trying to figure out, you know, what kind of shield system we wanted to give them and everything, and, you know, we developed them with all the power armor and everything. But then, you know, then we disbanded, and then Reach came out, and I really liked the way they did the brutes in Reach. I thought it was cool that they were, you know, they weren't as powerful in Elite, but they were scarier in packs. So, we have the brutes who I want to do in an upcoming vidoc, actually. But the idea behind the brutes is somewhat like Reach. You can use your guns to take off their helmets and shoot them in the head. But if you just shoot at their bodies, they can take some damage, but after a while they start to... the technical word is ping. That's what it's called in the game. They start to react to the bullets and they can't fire back at you. They're stunned. So you can like be fighting like 3 brutes and you can unload your assault rifle into one and he can't do anything to stop you. But meanwhile his buddies will start shooting at you and throwing grenades, which causes you to break off. So it's cool how they work, I think. I'm actually really happy with the way they turned out.
So we have brutes and elites and all that. We have every kind of covenant that Bungie has made, but have you guys had an idea or what?
Except for drones and engineers.
Alright. So have you guys tried to make your own enemy?
We all kind of feel that we can't be as creative anymore as we like. The maps are getting really massive. We already have so much content, you know, in these first 5 missions of campaign. And you know, with the Covenant, they're already they're already really fun. We already know how they work. People like the way the Covenant played in all the games. We kind of brought in all the best aspects of the Covenant through the game series. But as far as new enemies and like creative types of enemies, like we're really saving that, you know, for the Flood and Forerunner stuff in the second half of campaign.
And now you have a lot of new gameplay areas. Is that more of a CMT style gameplay, or are you trying to go for like a Bungie style gameplay for those new areas?
Like I said, we're trying to keep, you know, some of the spirit of Bungie's. So for A30, it's a lot of, you know, take a position, explore, defend. That's the focus for A30. For B40, you know, we want to do, you know, more canyons and cool vehicle combat that B40 is really known for. You know, fighting with a lot of Marines, using the tank. You know, in A10, it's, you know, it is more hallways, but we've got stuff like sub-engine rooms, and we've done new stuff with the hog bays. You know, we've got some new boarding areas that, you know, that are big, that are like more wide open places where the boarding craft attack, you know, which is going to be pretty cool, I think. So, I mean, it's all very in line with what Bungie did in Halo 1. You know, there's nothing really, you know, I wouldn't say there's anything that feels un-Halo to the new areas.
Yeah, but you have new weapons that are more like the later Halos, so how does that play into current stock style maps?
Well, the big thing about the tag set this time around is that, you know, with Bungie, every single Halo game, and 343 as well so far, you know, they take the weapons and ideas of the previous games and they totally redo them for the next game. You know, you don't pick up Halo 2's plasma rifle and you're like, oh yeah, this is just like the Halo 1 plasma rifle. You know, it's really good against shields and it's really weak against flesh. You know, Halo 2, it kind of blurred the line. And they always seem to do that with a lot of the games. So a lot of our weapons, first of all, play a lot like stock. The plasma rifle, the plasma pistol, the needler, the SMG is basically the Halo 1 assault rifle reincarnated in a new body. You know, those all play very much like Halo 1, so that gameplay is preserved. But then we have, you know, things like the new particle carbine and the focus carbine, where, you know, it puts a new edge on the combat because, you know, there used to be a time, you know, where you basically advance through the battlefield, you know, moving from rock to rock, taking out grunts, moving your way up to the elites to take them out close with a plasma pistol, assault rifle, or plasma rifle. But now you have these enemies that force you to keep a range and require you to, you know, rely more on, like, long grenade throws or, you know, using the DMR to pick off enemies while you try to move in. It just puts a lot more twists on original areas.
Alright. Now, one thing that I probably will ask that everyone else is probably wanting to know, are you guys still planning to use your battle rifle that everyone loves?
BRG?
Oh, that
yes.
one. Yeah, that's gonna still be in there. I'm like, the battle rifle, like, yeah, we're gonna have a battle rifle. The battle rifle no longer defaultly has a grenade launcher, but you can start the mission or find a battle rifle with a grenade launcher, you know, depending what mission it is. We also have, Loadouts, which we previously announced. They don't come into play until Truth and Reconciliation, because Halo or Bottom, you don't start with any weapons. Halo, you come out of the life pod and all the weapons are there on the ground anyway. So you get to kind of look through them and pick what you want from the life pod to bring with you. But starting with A50, we do loadouts for each mission, since you're always, regrouping with the Marines or, meeting a Pelican that's well supplied. So for Truth and Reconciliation, if you want to start, you can start off with a battle rifle, grenade launcher, and a silenced SMG.
And just going back to vehicles, there's a new health system in place for SPv3?
Yeah, that's another thing that, in the past, our scripting was like pretty much limited to the levels. Right now, we just have like massive scripting documents, for a lot of our content, including weapons, vehicles, AI, all stuff like that. So one of the things that we wanted to do was we wanted to preserve the way that vehicle combat felt in Halo 1, because I would say probably, Halo 3 and 4 had really good vehicle combat too, but I thought Reach's was really crappy, and I thought that Halo 2's was really crappy. But we wanted to preserve the Halo 1 feel, and the way that the Halo 1 had 2 vehicle health systems, which obviously doesn't make much sense. You have the Covenant vehicles, which are disposable, they can take X amount of shots and then they blow up. And then you have the Warthogs and the tanks where, the damage is applied to your shield and then it's applied to your health and then you die. Anytime a player is in a vehicle that, in SPv3, and they take damage, the shield is the first thing to take damage. And then once the shield is down, all shots that hit the vehicle are transferred to the vehicle's health, and not the player's. I mean, the player can still be shot by like a spiker or whatever while he's in the vehicle if it hits, but if it hits the hog, it doesn't damage the player, it just damages the vehicle health. So what's cool about this is it gives you the Halo 1 feel of combat, but if suppose you get caught in a bad situation, you take a lot of fire, your shield goes down, your vehicle health starts to go down, and then your vehicle will start to smoke, and then you're gonna say like, all right, I need to hop out of this thing. And you'll hop out of your vehicle and you'll still have your health and you can still fight on the ground. It's not like Halo 1 where once you take a lot of damage in your vehicle, you jump out and you're already really weak and you just get shot. So it's pretty neat and it works pretty well too. It allows the player to use the vehicles, but it punishes them too if they get sloppy with them and they become careless with what they're fighting. And we have the Brood Shot as well, which is, an anti-vehicle weapon the Covenant get to use a lot. You guys hear that buzzing, humming, beeping?
What beeping? I don't hear beeping.
This project has been in the works for quite a long time. Do you guys have an aim for a release at all?
Well, it all hinges on V30 Evolve, and that's actually going really well right now. The idea is that, you can only have so many people work on one map. So we have, most of our BSP modelers are working on V30 Evolve because that's a huge, obviously a huge map. So some of the other guys have been working on, the A10, A30, A50, and B40 maps. So, we work on those maps separately than the Evolve project, and, the Evolved and SPv3 projects, they share a lot of the gun models, they share a lot of the content, animations, implementation of things, scripts they share. It all really hinges on once B30 is done, we're going to release that, we're going to give it, it's time to shine, and then we're going to start releasing the SPv3 maps. So hopefully no more than 2 or 3 months, after Evolved is the plan.
So wait, do you plan on releasing them, separately or just all in one go?
Actually, what I kind of wanted to do was release them weekly, kind of like, they did with Spartan Ops and Halo 4, where each week you can get a new map to play. And we'd release, A10 one week, and then A30 the next week, and then the A50 we released the week after, the next week, and then we would issue the SPv3 version of V30 Evolved, with the CMT tag set, and then the week after that we would release B40. But there's been some talk about doing it every 2 weeks. I personally want to do 1 week, but that has to be decided closer to date when we can assess where everything stands. But we want to do things on a weekly or bi-weekly release schedule. I think that'd be really cool, and I think it'd get CE a lot of attention too.
I think bi-weekly would be awesome. That way, whenever we do our little HMUs, we could at least do 2 a month.
Yeah, I'm not really
convenient for us.
Sure. I mean, it's just ideas right now. I don't see anything being released for probably another, I don't even want to give an estimate because then people are going to be like, oh, it's delayed again. So I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, all right, I understand that. But you are going to work on part 2 eventually. Is that pretty much going to be the same tag set, so it's going to go by quicker, possibly?
Well, we've been actually looking at part 2 and like discussing ideas for it is almost as like a sequel to, almost more as like a sequel than it is, a part 2. It's almost like an SPv3 3.5 rather than an SPv3. I mean, we're going to do a lot of new stuff with the Flood. We have infections. We have some weapons that we want to introduce in the second half of campaign. Human. There's a couple of human weapons we want to introduce. Obviously, the flamethrower doesn't make an appearance in the first half of campaign. The shotgun, we're going to probably save to the second half. But then you also get into, all the sentinel beams and the Flood and all the Forerunner stuff. And we don't want to copy anything from Halo 4 because we didn't really think that the Forerunner weapons were really that original in Halo 4.
Yeah.
I don't know, there was nothing that we felt was really like, oh yeah, this makes like sense for a weapon to like fight the Flood. Like, yeah, it vaporizes stuff, but that's kind of like visual only and not really like in terms of gameplay. So we definitely want to explore like some other versions of Sentinel beams, and we have the Sentinel Enforcers. We have some idea for new Flood forms, So, for the second half of the campaign, there's a lot of new stuff we want to do. And the fact that, in Halo 1, and really in Bungie's whole series, the Forerunner and the Flood are really never, they never really expanded on them. The Forerunner through the entire series, there's always Sentinels, and then in Halo 2, you have Enforcers. And then in Halo 3, you really get nothing. And then the Flood didn't get anything except for the brute forms and the pure forms, which didn't really play that well in Halo 3. So I think there's a lot of stuff to explore for the Flood and the Forerunner. That's still, that's not Halo 4 SKU.
Alright, that sounds intriguing, as we're going to get more in the second half. Is there any last people you'd like to thank?
The list would be, if I were to start naming people, it'd be really high, but a lot of people. The list.
General.
Yeah. I just want to say thanks to the CMT team for all their work, the CE community for always liking what we do and being enthusiastic and showing interest in what we do, and Dennis for putting up with the mess on Halo maps.
All right, well, thanks for coming up and telling everyone about your new project you've been working on. People will be definitely excited to see this.
Yeah. And also, while everybody's listening, we do want to resume the vidocs soon, but we're still trying to figure out what's going on with some back-end stuff that's preventing us from doing it. But that should be coming, hopefully, in the new year. We'll have some more of those.
All right.
Well, thank you, and happy holidays.
Yep. Happy holidays to you guys, too.
Yep. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever. Just, yeah.
Since this will be released on Christmas.
Yeah, my little Christmas present. Or our Christmas present. Cut that out. Makes me sound too egotistical.
Don't let Loadouts.
All right.